Sparky.
Can we stop this druid?
He still has a,
Are you talking to the Shadow Priest?
Yeah, Shadow Priest. Yeah.
If you read it, that's all I got. Man.
Swap to the warrior. Swap warrior. Go warrior. Go warrior. Go warrior. Go warrior.
Dude, our
Go
big damn
warrior.
warrior, big damn.
Are you talking to the Shadow Priest?
Alrighty, fellow Shadow Priest, the poll resulted in people wanting to see some solo shuffle commentary, just some more general gameplay. I know we put out the little burst guide, and it may look like, you know, we're playing against a Tauren rogue and we're like, stop, but how do you actually do that damage while getting trained? Well, guess what? We're going to show you. So pretty fun thing to do here is to try to just run at the healer and do as much damage as possible. Unfortunately, looks like he does get trapped, so I'm kind of being patient. He gets cloned on my Shadow Crash. I still want to kill the healer. The Demon Hunter may be at 20%, but ultimately deep down, I'm a healer killer, man. I love to run at the healers. I love to scare them and do damage. Healer runs away, so we're going to pop the Dark Ascension Mindbender and start spamming out Shadow Word Death and Mind Blast. And this is the wombo combo we've been talking about. Now, yes, the most optimal way to deal damage is, wow, I just hit him for like 150k there. The most optimal way to buff your damage is with that Psychic Scream and dropping the Mindbender on them while they're feared. That's going to give you a 15% damage buff. However, if you even do the burst remotely accurate without that, you're still going to do a ton of damage, and you'll still have your fear as a crowd control for the healer. So let's take a look at, you know, what this might look like when things don't go perfectly and you're not just sitting there doing 50k DPS not getting touched. So we're still going to be able to do a lot of damage without being able to cast. We're going to rely heavily on our procs and then also using some of our utility spells to help us set up damage. So here I'm really trying to get the fear into the Mindbender. There we go. We got the buff. We did it right this game. Going to stun him. Dark Ascension. Nobody gets incapped again. Why did they? The DH, man, he loves to take my dots off. I'm going to Damnation him, reapply the dots, fake both the kicks. Boom! 100k Mind Games combo. And he's going to have to Tranquility at very low HP. Perfect opportunity to just swap to the nearest target that's about to die. I am targeting the Druid, waiting for that Trank to end. I'm going to try to spam out that last Mind Blast. Don't get it, unfortunately. Anytime the target that you're on uses defensive cooldowns and you still have a lot of damage left over, just send it to another target because you might just kill them or your DH will one-shot them. So pretty fun to see the damage work out in that way. All right, back in another game, get cleaved on. We're going to do the Mindbender and the Fear combo, and it's going to be glorious. So we're going to stun him, pop the Dark Ascension, Shadow Word Death. Mind Games here just because I have the time to cast, and this guy's actually going to get collaborated for a 115k wombo combo, and then that's not even including the, you know, the extra 20 to 23k plus 21k on the Shadow Word Death with the Inescapable Torment, as well as I still have 2 Mind Blast charges left, so you can really just actually delete people. And all I did was basically use my positioning to walk away from the DH so that I could cast this. I'm not sure if he even had, looks like he does actually have an interrupt up, but I'm going to essentially avoid tendrils and then root, walk away, cast the Mind Games before he can interrupt me. And that's just a big burst combo. So definitely getting that fear off makes a big difference on the burst, and then getting the Mind Games off is also awesome. You just have to be kind of careful with the way you set it up, because if I stood on the DH there and tried to cast the Mind Games, I would have gotten kicked, the Druid would have went behind the pillar, and he would have lived. All right, next game here, we got the DH Warrior. So I'm purposely picking matchups that are supposed to not be fun for Shadow Priest. I could pick games where we just kind of counter them and roll over them, but I feel like these are actually pretty tough. So I'm trying to integrate the fear and Mindbender thing here. I kind of fuck it up because I don't get it off while the DH is still feared, but either way, we're just going to continue to blast. Anyways, here's my power infusion macro is bugged, but essentially when I'm not getting targeted, I like to stand on the healer and kind of harass them as much as possible. And it just makes it so difficult for him to heal anybody. I mean, he has to heal the DH who is rotting, he has to heal the warrior who's rotting, and then right out of his trinket, I'm just going to say, you know what, I'm going to stun. Like, the warrior's got Ironbark. I could have sent a Mind Games into Ironbark and parry. However, I'm just like, you know what, I'm horny. I'm going to send a Mind Games right here in this guy's face with my Dark Ascension up, with my Mindbender up, and try to finish him. So if the warrior didn't die there, I think I would have killed the Druid because I still had Mind Blast and Death procs as well. So another 100k Mind Games. Again, we didn't buff the 15% damage increase, so you can see the difference between the 115k Mind Games last game and the 100k Mind Games that game. It's that 15%, man. You can save 15% by switching to Mindbender Fear combos. Cool, let's check out some Void Form games actually too. All right, we've definitely gotten a lot of questions on the Void Form build and when is it preferable to the Mindbender Dark Ascension. I've actually found that when you're playing against a good mage, the Mindbender and Dark Ascension build is just kind of hard to pull off because mages will Nova your pet, they'll CC you to death, and they'll be very careful with their counterspell. They'll take your PI, all this annoying stuff. So we're just going to play Void Form and try to Void Bolt off cooldown. The best thing we can always do is to apply our dots to the enemy team. So I'm going to shoot out a Shadow Crash, and then upon exiting the CC, I'm going to immediately dot the mage and the druid. So we get double fear, dot the mage, dot the druid. We don't have to worry about using our Mindbender on the fears anymore because we're playing Shadow Fiend. You could also play Void Form and Mindbender, but I don't think it's worth going into that last tree if you don't have the Inescapable Torment. So now all of our dots are up. We're going to pop Power Infusion, Void Form, Shadow Fiend, and just Void Bolt off cooldown. That's our DPS rotation. Void Form actually doesn't even buff your spell damage, which I find kind of crazy, but it just gives you access to so much great insanity generation, and you're going to see a really high output on Devouring Plague and Void Bolt. So place a very high emphasis on watching my insanity here. I'm capped at 100. There we go. Use my Devouring Plague. Keep my distance from the mage. I'm in a position here where he's too far to counterspell me, so I will take that time to reapply my dots and shoot a Mind Games, and then I see the mage kind of push in. Immediately, I'm going to fall back here to where I cannot get interrupted, and the mage has to kind of awkwardly push into me if he wants to kick me. So constantly being aware of the enemy's positioning and adjusting my own positioning to give myself the best opportunity to do damage. Anytime you get that low, great idea to disperse. We CC the Resto Druid, otherwise I'm going to triple dot, but don't want to break the blind, so we're going to actually try to pump out as much damage as we can on the warrior. As you can see, I got this nice glowy Catharsis proc above my unit frame right here, and that means that I'm ready to blow 15% of my HP into this guy, and you know that's going to be roughly, what, 40k or so, so we're going to hit a nice 45k on the Catharsis, and then Life Swap the Rogue, keep us in the game. As soon as that Reflect falls, I'm going to look to reapply my dots. I do have Damnation up, and Void Form should be coming off soon as well. Now I'm playing Driven to Madness, so you see every time I get attacked, my Void Form is being reduced. Power Infusion is a 2-minute cooldown, and it's at 48 seconds now, so that means that I spent 20 seconds in Void Form, and then about 40 seconds later, I'm ready to go right back in. So definitely feels like a good talent when you're playing a Void Form. Otherwise, you're sacrificing a 1-minute Dark Ascension versus a 2-minute Void Form. And the idea behind playing this is if you can't actually get cast off while you're in Dark Ascension, Void Form is just going to give you access to Void Bolt, which is going to do comparable damage to what your Mind Blast would do with Dark Ascension. So let's just keep that in mind and shoot the Void Eruption into the Void Bolt, and that's a 50k into a 56k. So 100k burst in 2 seconds, as well as all of our dots ticking and all that stuff. Definitely not the worst. And as you can see on the DPS here, did perform better than an Assassin Rogue, which is crazy because Rogues, I think, have some of the highest damage right now. More damage than a Warrior, more damage than a Mage. Definitely a build to consider. However, it's going to take some getting used to. All right, we got one more Void Form video for you to kind of close this out. Again, just trying to keep those dots up, looking for making our teammate have the best opportunity to swap to someone. Triple dotting, as always, is going to be a good move. Now, Assassin, Rogue, and Mage can be very oppressive, so we're going to be very careful with the way we choose to cast. I'm immediately going to use my Damnation, apply both my dots, send out a Shadow Fiend. I'm going to stun the Druid, get a Shadow Crush on him. Once they're triple dotted, this is my time to shine. I did break the Warrior Fear on the Shadow Crash, but, we're just fucking around and not really communicating, so that's kind of our bad. In a Soul Shuffle, you're going to make mistakes, and you know what? I think damage over CC right now. So Void Form, Power Infusion, Void Bolt off cooldown, use your procs, and dump your Insanity. This is just a recipe for success, I think. I do have to fake a CS. Looks like the Mage isn't kicking me, so I'm just going to send that Mind Games, get the Druid almost to near death range, had my Warrior had a charge or like a leap or something. I feel like you could have went in there and made a play. You just got to set your team up to make those plays. Now, I did kind of get a little happy there, free casting, and that kind of happened. So between then, I'm going to Purge and use my Mind Spikes. Kind of sucks that I'm in Void Form, unable to get that last Void Bolt off because I'm interrupted. So when you're in Void Form, be very careful that you're not getting kicked. I quite honestly think it would be better just to keep like a Shadow Word Pain up and use your instant cast rather than risk getting interrupted when you're about to get another Void Bolt off. So keeping those dots up, Mind Blast off cooldown, using my procs. The CC comes up here. I'm going to silence the Mage so he actually can't CS this because I know that he would have kicked me and we wouldn't have forced anything. So we do get the Ice Block from that. Mass Dispel. Instantly reapply those dots. keep using those procs. Right now I don't have the druid dotted. Oop, quick dot on the druid, man. I'm so good. That was crazy. Definitely keep pressing your insanity off cooldown. I'm not getting attacked, which is making my driven to madness build feel kind of useless. It will sometimes work out in your favor, but I feel like this team knows the talents that I've been playing. And yeah, I was getting trained by the warrior and basically just getting void forms every minute, which was awesome. But here I'm not really getting attacked. I'm just getting CC'd. So just trying to keep up my damage. I think as soon as this next void form comes out, we should definitely have the game in the bag. If not before then. This mage is getting very, very low. Accidentally death the gouge. Kind of cool play, I guess. Here we go. Stormbolt on the warrior. Stun on the druid as soon as I come out of this. And hopefully this guy just goes down here. Second void form, sure to end the game here. Big void bolt for the kill. Boom. I guess he didn't die. Here it is. Big void bolt for the kill. All right, so those are 2 examples of playing void form. I know void form, it doesn't give you as much spell damage anymore, and this was actually pointed out to me yesterday. I had no idea that they nerfed it. So void form basically cancels your shadow form but gives you 10% spell damage. I don't really understand how that works. So you're not really going to hit any harder, but you're going to generate a ton of insanity as well as do a ton of damage with void bolt. I think my void bolts could have been higher damage here if I was getting trained, and definitely feels like the driven to madness is what makes this feel good. And if you're not getting trained, you probably are better off just playing the mindbender build, right? Because you won't be getting interrupted as often, you won't be getting stunned as often. You really just have to know your matchups and know what teams are going to train you. I didn't see the rogue team tunneling the warrior instead of the shadow priest, so I hope that that stuff was informative for you guys. I hope that PvP is fun. I hope that we don't get nerfed, and I hope that everyone keeps tuning into the stream, man. Check out the stream at twitch.tv/StahpSP, and then I will be, streaming around, I usually get on around 11 EST, but if I'm home earlier than that, we'll hop on the stream, do some more games, and strategize some PvP. So thank you guys so much for watching. Have a good one. We'll see you in the next video.